I want everyone to, thank you for that, Carrie Ann. I love when you leave room in a show flow for the moments that weren't planned. And sometimes, as a speaker, as a coach, all of us as health coaches, it's not always what we have prepared to say to our client or our coach or an audience. It's what is it that the moment that they need to hear. So thank you, Carrie Ann and Josiah, for taking me back to what's most important. And it's liberating one person at a time to change their life and to change their community. You can put your notes down for a moment. If you're taking notes, you can maybe even turn off your cell phone for a moment. I just want to read to you for a moment because we're going to start moving level up in a direction that's more about you. Now, the whole thing is about you and us and what we're doing together. But there's some concepts that we all have. I like to call them blind spots. We all have one. We just can't see our own. But there's limiting beliefs and thoughts that held Thea and I up from sharing this gift with some of you because of the way that we were raised, some things we were told by the people we love the most, some things we were told by people we respect the most or had always received counsel or guidance or wisdom from. And I'm just going to read, so this section could be called maybe Lullabies with Doug. Think money isn't important, think again. It's not your fault. And it's not my fault I'm broke. But it will be my fault, Doug, if I stay broke a year from now after being at this conference. I'm sorry if somebody in your life told you that money is not important. They really did you a disservice. And they're dead wrong. Money is important. Now, I'm going to end this turmoil for us both, just like somebody else did for me 9 years ago. If you don't have much money or always finding yourself making decisions based on how much things cost, then we should change that. The world, our church, our family, our charity, our kids could really benefit from everyone in this room leveling up in our abundance and our money. So many people think that they think and say that money is the root of all evil. But I think they kind of messed up that line. I think it says the love of money is the root of evil. I have found people to butcher that phrase in Scripture to confirm their broken belief cycles, the ones passed on to them through their father, their mother, their grandparent, their pastor, or anyone they would accept counsel from. It's poverty teaching from a poor, broke mindset and upbringing. Please know you're not a bad person for making money or making it a priority in your family. It must become a priority. Money is like a magnet. It will go to those who pay attention to it. Some of you don't like money. Some of you can't stand it and you're sickened by it. How do I know this? Every time we get paid, we've already got it pre-spent. We literally get rid of it. We're like get away from me, money, right? You literally have spent it in your head or on paper before it reaches our direct deposit. Friday afternoon, it's in our wallet, and sometimes it's gone by Friday night. But for the next 2 weeks, we'll complain about our jobs. Or should I say, we'll complain that nobody wants to get healthy. What do we have to do? How tired we are. With a long week it's been. I can't get on that Zoom. They're always having Zooms. They're out of stock. For my money. So if it's not important, why do we spend 40 to 50 hours a week, most Americans, chasing it? But money's bad. Then why are you skipping your kids' baseball games to be at work? So money is kind of helpful. So money reveals the heart. Okay, let's get this very clear. Making money and having a lot does not change you. It does not make you greedy. Money is neutral. It only carries the meaning we give to it. It does not have a spirit. It is. I left my money in the back room. Does anyone have like literally $1 or $5 or $10 or $100 bill on them I can use? Of course, everybody on the front row is like, yeah, there it is right there. $1, thank you. Money is neutral. You can do a lot of good things with money, and you know what? You can also do a lot of bad things with this dollar. But you must understand, money is neutral. It honestly doesn't care about you. It has no feelings, it has no thoughts, it has no emotion, it has no spirit. It does whatever you tell it to do. I'm guessing, now that I'm touching it, my example is about ready to get gross, but I'm guessing this dollar has had a lot of tax paid on it. I'm guessing it's had a lot of tithes paid on it. I'm guessing it's bought a pack of gum or a pack of cigarettes. I'm guessing it's bought alcohol. I bet it's been used to buy drugs. I bet it's been found or picked up from a stripper pole. I bet it's been sent to Guatemala to feed kids. This dollar doesn't care. The fact that if money is so bad, why, I'm in a church reading this, why are there 4 easy ways to give on Sunday morning at most churches? You can text it, you can give to our website, there's an app, you can drop in the plate, whatever works for you, right? I've seen people ruin their lives with just a little bit of money. And I've personally seen people live the most generous lives without it as well. Having no money for most of my 20s and 30s, I would still buy a stranger coffee in line, constantly gave clothes away, gave food away, would pay most of my tithe on time, and supported others where I could. We constantly opened our home to people to stay, gave away airline miles if we had any, and helped people even when we didn't have the means. Now in my late 30s and 40s, I still give and I get to help people, but actually at a bigger level. As I mentioned, I don't give for the write-offs. I just give now because I can and when it's right. At dinner parties, you'll constantly find me sneaking off to sometimes pick up the check before anyone else notices it or can get it. You will find me paying in full for my own missions trips. You will find me sending different families on full expense paid vacations. You will find me sending money to families that I am on social media with who are losing their homes to a flood, hurricane, or a natural disaster. You won't find me posting about all this stuff. You see, these are very small examples, the amounts that T and I have given. And I don't share this with you this morning to boast. I'm strictly giving you perspective. Money just magnifies the heart. Whatever is inside of us will just get bigger. I make no apologies for making a big income. So now I can be a bigger blessing, and I can give like nobody's ever given to my church. When there's a need, I can be the first responder if I choose, and I don't have to check my bank account or my wife. It's just there because of the decisions that I made 8 and 7 years ago. I have found money actually reveals the truth about people. My heart has just been magnified. And you know what? I've been able to make a bigger impact since I chose to make more of it instead of listening to people who said things like, Doug, be careful, don't chase money. Money is the root of evil, so don't let it get to your head. Are you sure about that health business? Do you know what somebody said? Hey, be careful, you know what success can do. Doug's book's all about him. Doug's book's about him showing off. Why would anyone name their book what it is? I think Doug's sold out. He's not the same. Somebody just told me that the other day. Doug's not the same anymore. I miss the old Doug. Probably why I haven't hung out with that person in 20 years. We've all heard people say money won't make us happy. Well, I needed personally to test it to find out. All I can tell you this, it certainly ain't going to make you unhappy. You see, no one living in abundance, get this, folks. No one living in abundance, because here's why I'm going here. I'm just spilling the beans. Here in a second, I'm going to have Shane Bishop come out, and he's going to teach you guys the comp plan and how to maximize it. But we got to get a few things right in our heart before we're ready to receive and accept more. So you see, no one living in abundance or who is jealous or hasn't given up their goals or hasn't given up on their goals would ever say something so ridiculous of the examples I just gave. They understand what it can do for them, their family, and the kingdom impact it can make. However, I can say this. I spent most of my life without much money, and I know what it's like to value the hard dollar earned, and I respect it. I was at my house last night, and somebody asked me, I have a big dried up $100 bill. It's not a real one, it's a canvas. Somebody said, Doug, what does that mean? I've always seen it on your wall. It just means that I know what it's like to grind for this dollar. I know what it's like on the days that I wanted to quit. When you see money, like, maybe our parents did say it doesn't grow on trees. Maybe it does. I don't know. But it was like I respect the dollar because I know how hard I've contended for every Optavia dollar I've ever earned. You can do a lot more with it than you can without it. Plus, you're not a burden to your family, your kids, or your church when it comes to asking for missions money or whatever else you're doing. See, money is a good thing. It helps us in so many ways. It allows comfort, breakthrough, ease, love, abundance, peace, options, and more than anything, freedom. And I'm not talking financial freedom. I'm talking liberation freedom that only comes from within. Because abundance is a mindset. I want to help some of you this morning with a little bit your money mindset. Because there's some unhealthy patterns that I came into Optavia that held us up for 3 years before I had to get my relationship with money in a healthy place so I could liberate the giver that was really within, but I can't give from an empty bank account. I can live on my dreams. I can live on my terms and not someone else's. Like I said, money won't make you happy, but I needed to find out for myself. The pastor of my church sure hasn't had any issues with it. Also, try telling that to the orphanages in Guatemala and Dominican Republic that we support. Seems like it's making them happy. And they're very thankful that we got over our issues with money when we were on and off executive director. What money will do is send kids on mission trips, put jerseys on your kids' sports teams, provide private dance lessons, provide horseback riding lessons, increase your ability to tip from 25 to maybe even 100% if you want to, pay off your debt, increase your quality of life, increase your tithe. Maybe you can get to the point to where you have to wire your tithe. You max out that push pay thing. Give with ease to the next campaign or fundraiser you are a part of. Of course, weather unexpected emergencies. The point is, money is okay, and your family deserves to be wealthy. Don't apologize for it. Success and money are cuss words in many buildings like this. It's not a cuss word in Optavia. Success and money are beautiful words done with the right sets of abundance and heart. Don't ever feel ashamed to talk about them or wanting more of them. If you are ashamed to tell your goals or to talk about them, you just know that you're hanging out with the wrong people. This is a safe place. When we were all raised, most of us were told to never talk about money or sex in public. Wonder why we don't have any money and we all have a lot of sex addictions. No, I'm being freaking serious. Now I've just got freaking quiet. Like, whew. Live stream's like, I'm glad I'm not in that room right now. Think about it. The two things that we refuse to talk about, or we were raised to talk about it, you know? My dad used to tell me, like, Dougie, quit playing with your dinghy. And I'm like, okay. And then I got older and I'm thinking about it, why can't I play with it? It's mine. Think about it. I know we're having some fun, but think about some of the things that we even are telling our kids right now. So, well, maybe that's why our world is so jacked up with them now. We were raised as if they were secret things, so let's not talk about them. Shh, that's a secret. Well, I think it's time we start talking about them. Because it seems the both are pretty darn important, and our world has a lot of issues with both. I'll finish this little part. Now, I know this is a little intense. I'm just reading, by the way. But I'm bringing you up to speed on a quick read. I spent the last 7 years unlearning what I believed for the first 30. I had to unlearn the negativity around money to now appreciate it, to accept the abundance and the health, and what I call the kingdom perspective around money. Interpret that. Maybe it's a world perspective. It's a spirit of abundance. You interpret what you would. And what it can do for others, my family, but more so the world. Now, I have a couple questions for you, and I want you to now take out your phones or your notes, and no one's going to see this. This is just a self-exercise. I want you to think, if I was to say, oh, my friend Joe, I don't know if he'd want to be a coach. He makes a lot of money a year. If I was to tell you I'm pretty successful, maybe I'll ask some of you, how much is a lot of money a year to you? Everyone just write down their number. Again, no one's going to hear this, no one's going to see this. How much is a lot of money? Someone used to tell me, like, I got texts flying in. Clients are upset because their shipping is delayed. And my text flying in. In my mind, there must be 20 to 30 is my interpretation of flying in. So I said, Coach, I was going to say Jill, but it wasn't Jill. But Jill's always my example. Jill, how many exactly are texting? Well, one, and then I heard about it I saw on Facebook client page, there was another person that's not my client that had a question about it too. Okay, so how much is a lot of money to you? Also, Ashlyn, if you can give me a whisper in my ear at some point, how are we really doing on time? I think we're way ahead, aren't we? How many new clients start, if you said she starts a lot of clients a month, how much is a lot to you? When someone says they run really high frontline volume, how much is a lot in high frontline volume to you? Write this down. This is not your numbers. This is when I say, okay, I'm going to have a coach come up and share how to run high frontline volume. They run super high frontline volume. Write that down. How much of money for an Optavia income is a lot to you? And my next question is, how did you come up with your configuration? I am willing to bet out of 450-ish people here right now, between the 4 questions I just asked you, we have 450 different answers. Would you agree? So what does this tell us? A lot of our numbers and a lot of our results this far about what we've done or what's possible or what Doug just said is an expression of our level of awareness or what we have been told or the lens that Mike just showed us that we've seen it through. Get this, friends, get this. Numbers and income are consistently being blocked by a virus of what we have been told or the people around us has said and that we have taken on as acceptable, normal, or average. I used to be really proud that I've always said, and it's even in my book, I'm an average guy with above average desires. I've always said I'm a C+ average guy. I got through high school with an average grade. And I've been coaching up my niece, Kinsey, on her schooling. And I was really proud of her. I got her text from her teacher, and her grades are going up. I'm like, baby, I'm so proud of you. And she looks at me, and she goes, but Papa, we got, what did she say? She goes, I'm starting to get some of them back to average. And it hit me. Because I've always told my kids, There's some areas that, we got to do everything we can, and I won't get into what I've told my kids exactly, but I've always accepted average in some areas, probably because I struggled in school, so I allow them to just hit this. And I knew the pressure that was on me and from my teachers, and not as much my parents, but it was just, and she looked at me, she goes, I'm almost up to average, and I looked at her literally eyeball to eyeball, and I said, Kinsey, you are not average. You are God's highest form of creation, and you were set apart to do massive things. And the world will measure us sometimes on our grades. But God measures the heart and the desire and the abundance. So you are not average, regardless of what the grade comes back. I'm looking at your effort. And what I'm getting from your teacher is effort, 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 effort. So we've all made agreements with normal, our average that we have accepted, whether we accept it or not. What's average debt to you? Yeah, I have average debt. What, according to the government? I wouldn't base it on their averages. You seen how much our country's in debt? That's average, though. Average income, average sponsoring. Doug says to really grow this business, 7 clients a month and 2 coaches a month. Says who? Says Doug? Please blow my numbers out of the water. Please do. We're going to talk about abundance in our transactional numbers tomorrow. Average friends, they're a good friend. Yeah, you also have some friends that you can't even tell that you're here and that you're like, oh my gosh, this would make them so uncomfortable. It just tells you probably, whether you do have to be or not, probably should stop hanging out with them because they're dragging you down. So things that we've got to confront, what we must confront, the way that we were raised, which has a lot to do with our observations and our health and our relationship with money. My dad told me getting into the furniture business that debt is normal. If you're in the furniture business, expect to have good seasons and horrible seasons. That's why you get a big credit line. So guess what? I got a big credit line. And guess what? I was always maxing out the credit line. Isn't that interesting? Because I was told it was normal. So my standards of living, I'd been told it was normal. Not his fault. He got me the start I have today. I'm so thankful for him. But he was told by somebody else that the furniture business is going to come with debt. See, also in my family, money was a secret conversation. Never talked about. My parents protected me from a lot of things. I never knew why for 6 months we didn't have a dining room table and chairs. I didn't know. I was told that there was a customer, had one delayed. It was delayed, and we needed to get hers to her for Thanksgiving, and so we're going to take hers when it comes in. But it never came in for 6 months. I found out that 2 months before that, my parents promised me a trip to Disneyland. In that season, the furniture business fell apart, and they fulfilled a promise to me for Disneyland, but they sold the $2,000 dining room chairs and table to take me there. So I never knew if we had money or we didn't have money. Again, money and sex was not talked about. Don't tell how much you make. Ooh, it's a taboo subject. Never give in public. Why? Who set that rule? Yeah, some of it's biblical, but also it's just like I think, because you were told not to, or only give in private. I don't think there's wrong with either one, as long as it's done with the right heart. My question is, what areas of the way you were raised, and write this stuff down, is it time to confront that? Is that necessarily true? Or do they have enough fruit that I want to accept that level of wisdom from them? Other things we must confront as health coaches: spoken truths from people that we love and respect that may or may not be true. There's a reason that I don't get health advice from my accountant. Okay? But there's also a reason that I don't get tax advice from my health coach. You're going to have people that have meant well. And for some of you that are aware of the prophetic, people kind of say things in passing and that may or may not be true, or what they told you was relevant for that generation. Be aware. What I had to confront was the be careful mindset. Don't chase money. Things like these don't work out. But you didn't go to Bend, Oregon in 2011. You didn't hear Dr. A in Heart. You didn't experience the room I was in Scottsdale. These people are not, these are just real people. These are 400 people just hanging out for a weekend. And you feel like you have to justify and explain this weekend to people who weren't here. Other things you'll have to confront is what people think. Friends, family. I just got a few great DMs. Want to hear one of them? See if I can find it real quick. Let's see if I can find it. This was a good one. Well, maybe it's not meant to be read. But he thought he'd educate me. And, oh yeah, here we go. I'm sorry, but I believe that you have a responsibility as a leader. Oh, okay. So this guy I haven't talked to in 14 years has a responsibility to tell me how a leader might not want to be posting so much about our health program. Because it's offensive to some people in this season if they've chosen to eat Krispy Kremes. That could be offensive to someone. And that's literally what it's basically about. But I have a responsibility also as a leader in the health industry not to shame anybody. I'm like, okay, thank you. You know what? You'll see at the end of the message, there's no more blue, is there? No need to respond. Don't argue with broke people. And I don't mean financially. I'm talking emotionally, spiritually, mentally. Some of you, I'm friends with some of you on Instagram and Facebook. And my gosh, you put a lot of energy into your comments. Of defending who you are. You're stressing me out just watching you defend who you are. And I know who you are, but the more you're talking with them, it makes you sound like them. Okay. Did I say we're leveling up this weekend? Okay. What you will have to confront is the balance in your checkbook. We never had more than $5,000 in our checking account until our 12th year of marriage. It was 11 years ago. So I realized that it got above 5. I was looking for something to spend it on. Again, I was a deflector of money. I was not a money magnet. If it came to me, we got to buy something. I already had my national bonus spent 6 months before I was national. But I realized that I had developed a behavior that was not serving. I got to move through this. So do you have to confront some areas in your life? Some of you actually need to confront and start spending something on yourself and giving yourself some self-care and going to the spa once in a while because you're working your absolute tail off and you're being blessed and you just need to go buy those dumb pair of Gucci shoes. Even though they're way overpriced and they're so stupid. You know it, I know it, but my gosh, they look good, don't they? There's just something about them. Some of you just need to be like, gosh dang it, I want them. I'm not going to apologize for them. So go spoil yourself if you're working hard. What I had to confront, changing careers, identity. When I feel like I was giving up on a family mandate blessing of a furniture business, I'm going to end what maybe my father helped me start, and you start dealing. I got a plaque on the wall that says, I want to do this, and I'm still paying for that, but I hate that, and I love this. This tug of war of like, where was Optavia 10 years ago before I spent $100,000 on that stupid degree? Or maybe that awesome degree. Some of you are confronting feeling like I have to do either or. How about and? How about both? How about figure out what you're called to do, and Optavia is just one of your tools in your tool belt, or plaques on your wall. I'm a certified bad A health coach is what I am. Okay? I'm certified, baby. 200 multiple choice questions taken over the process of 26 days. Open book, baby, yes. What I had to confront was how to still show honor to my parents, my pastors, my leaders, mentors in my life that had gotten me as far as they could, but it was time pick my own battle and climb the mountain. Remember, you don't get to have opinions of others unless they're going to be paying your mortgage or your car payment or putting your kids through school. They don't get access to telling you where you can and can't be in Scottsdale. I don't care if it's a mother, a father, a mother-in-law, a brother, a sister, a child. You do you for a season. Other things you have to confront is accepting the abundance that is trying to find you and coming to terms with making your yearly income your monthly income. Stop trying to explain Optavia or your goals to people who don't know what you're about, haven't experienced the program, is not sitting in this room, or don't have any goals. Some of you, the reason you're dissatisfied with where you're at in this life is that the frequency that got you here, you've outgrown. You no longer connect with those people. I don't know what's changed, Doug. I get this all the time. Process of going from FIBC to Finn. What do I do about my best friend? When we hang out, it's just different now. Yeah. You're growing. Yeah, but she's a coach too, but she's not really. I know. You choose you. Let her choose her. Stay in the friend zone. But do not feel obligated to stay there. You must grow. I've saw too many casualties of Optavia. Oh, they're not leaving anyone behind. Everyone's a part of this journey. Remember I told you this morning I wanted to give raises, but I never could? Okay, this is the way I'm about ready to say this. I don't want it to sound like I gave you all raises, but can you think if I would have kept this business to myself, we wouldn't be sitting here right now. You wouldn't be, so I gave you all a raise, but I just gave my gift away. And believe you me, it came with hate. And I can't say hate, frustration, anger. Doesn't make sense. Be careful, Doug. I'll be here for you after you fall off the wagon. We'll still be friends, even though you have new friends now. Money, blessings, success, and impact and breakthrough is trying to find each and every one of you. But some of you are really fighting it. Some of you are really, really fighting it. Spend time figuring this out. Spend time going deep on yourself. Figuring out your money mindset. Because on the other side of your money mindset issues is thousands of people that need liberated. Thousands of people waiting for that stimulus check. We're always stimulating around here. We just stimulate every week. Lots of stimulation around here, right? So I want to end with, what is it you want? And Shane will be up here in 1 second. What is it that you want? Everyone close their eyes for a minute. I'm going to do mine too. Just think for a minute. Let's go out a year from right now. We're back here in Scottsdale at Level Up. What is it you want to create for you and your family or your church, your charities that you're passionate about, your kids? What is it that you want? Just picture it. Some of it's not even a financial thing. Some of it's just to be whole. Some of it's actually just to have relationships healed, marriages healed, maybe awkward situations that's going on with family or friends. Doug, I would be whole if the process of staying with the next year, they're not going to change necessarily. The process you become and the person you become this year is what's going to change. And you're going to begin to watch some of these things come to light. So I ask you again, what is it you want a year from right now? And for the purpose of this exercise, I do want to find out if it's an income. What type of income changes your family tree? Maybe it's not having to answer to a boss. Maybe it's playing golf in the middle of the week when you can by yourself when the courses are empty. Maybe it's just the option to, when a sick loved one says, I need you, you can just hop on the next flight. and be with them. Maybe it's like me in my furniture store when I had a $18,000 a month lease payment that was due for the next 2 years that I couldn't make. And I saw the only way if I could hit a strong global director was that monthly income would basically save me from bankruptcy. I don't know what your want is, but what I do know with this group and together, it's possible. It's not going to be overnight. I promise you, we're not I think they call it a get-rich-quick thing, right? It's a create abundance long-term through hard work, through heart work thing. And together with this community, we can do it. You can open your eyes if you haven't already. We can bring the house lights up. So I'm going to ask, well, here in 1 second, we're going to actually give him a round of applause because the man needs some energy. But I've asked Shane Bishop to come and break down the compensation plan for you. How many want to learn more about actually how to create some abundance in Optavia? Is that it? 6 of you? 17 of you? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to start setting up. We're about ready to hit the music. In fact, where's our dancers at? Where's our dancers at? Okay, I want a couple of dancers to come up. DJ's going to get some music playing. Seriously, we're just going to have a, come on. Who's feeling confident in their dance moves? Okay, here we go. We're going to dance for about 60 seconds.